Hey guys, it's Elliot Omenson, and I'm here with Skylor Alexander, the owner and founder of Stag Homes. Say hi.
How's it going?
All right, so we're gonna hop into the Jag. We're gonna have a really good conversation. I have a feeling that you've got a lot of good stories.
I have a few.
You got a few?
I got a few.
Lessons learned?
There's a lot of lessons learned. Yeah, they keep getting more expensive.
They do, don't they? They do.
Yes, they do.
They do. And actually, this is a pretty fantastic property. I don't know if you want to get a shot of it, but we are out in, would you call this Western Shawnee?
No, we're a little bit before Western Shawnee, but I've got 3 acres sitting here, so about a 400-foot long driveway that goes down into the valley where we are right now. I bought it about 2.5 years ago. It's fixer-upper, so it's not as nice as I'd like it just yet, but we're getting there.
No, it's freaking cool. All right, so we're gonna hop in the car and we're gonna get this thing going. So Skylor, thank you very much for joining us in today's episode of Backseat Ballers.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And what I love about the little bit I know about you, I think you span a variety of industry.
Yeah, I've been around a lot of different things. I have a background in microbiology, of course, business, construction. I'm a certified welder. Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff with art and things like that. So yeah, I've kind of been all over the place, and I think it was more from, being restless rather than focused in my younger years. But now we're focused, and now we're actually doing some things that I hope are going to impact the city.
That's pretty cool. I think anybody that kind of presents themselves in that way are always usually, to me, the people that end up having the biggest impact in the world around them.
Well, let's hope so. I'm really trying. The thing I've found in the construction world is that doing things the right way usually costs you a lot of money at first.
Yeah, yes it does.
So we're really trying to change how people feel about construction with Stag Homes and stuff like that, because what I saw working in the industry was that there was a real lack of focus on communication and actually taking care of clients. And that was the one thing that just drove me insane, was having to be a part of other people's systems that didn't truly care for people, and no matter the cost to yourself, always doing the right thing. And so that was why I started Stag Homes, and that's the focus of what we're doing.
I think that is a pretty honorable motivator, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it helps you sleep at night, and when you're putting in those 18, 20-hour days, it doesn't seem as bad because you know what you're working towards. And I'm really fortunate to have a team that also feels that way and is putting in extreme amounts of effort to get us where we want to go and have the impact that we're hoping we can.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to that comment you made. You said lack of focus. Is that what you called it? You said you were all over the place? Yeah,
when I was younger, I didn't want to stay in one place for too long, so I didn't keep jobs for terribly long. The longest I'd usually stay somewhere is about 3 years, and then I'd have to be off doing another thing and moving to another state or jumping around.
What was life like growing up as a kid? Where were you?
I was in Manhattan, Kansas. That's where I did, elementary, middle school, high school. We did some of that stuff. And after that, then I moved back up here. I was born here in Kansas City down in Westport at KU Med, but because we were low income, the neighborhoods we had to live in and stuff and things like that. My grandparents lived in Manhattan, so my mom felt like that was better for us to live there.
Did being around your grandparents as a child, you feel like that helped you, impacting you in a positive way?
No, they were the biggest impact on me. Growing up really low income in bad neighborhoods and stuff like that, you don't get to be exposed to certain things, but luckily with my grandparents, they took me to the lake every weekend with them during the summer. I was 12 years old when I started my first, I guess you could say, business. I wanted a jet ski. They said I had to work for it. And so what we did was my grandpa used a Craftsman lawnmower trailer. We used our golf cart and welded a hitch onto the back of it, and this was back in the 90s, and put a 55-gallon drum in it, and then I went around and dumped all the sewer tanks on everybody's campers at the campground. So they didn't have to do it, and I'd make 20 bucks every time I did that, and it'd take me about 10 or 15 minutes, and that's how I paid for fuel and stuff like that. So it was, they were kind of the start to me. I didn't know it back then, but the start to my entrepreneurship and liking to do my own thing.
Yeah.
But actually where Stag Homes came from was they lived in a housing subdivision in Manhattan called Stag Hills.
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
So I'd been playing around with names. I've branded a lot of different companies, and so I always find branding really important. When I thought about that, I started playing around with logos and came up with the one that we have now, and that's how it came to fruition.
So would you say you did well in school as a kid? Was that
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
I was
not.
horrible in school.
Okay.
You know, I failed most classes, and I mean, I did graduate high school by the skin of my teeth. I needed, funny enough, my microbiology class to graduate. Okay. And I had a like 10% in the class or something like that. And my teacher told me, he's like, he really liked me. So he said, oh, whatever you get on the final, I will give you in the class and that'll enable you to graduate. And so I took the test, and then he called me back in later that day and acted real somber. And I just thought, well, I guess I'm done. I'm not graduating high school. And I was 2 points away from a B.
Oh my goodness.
And back then I had no idea.
From 10% to almost a B.
Yeah. So I mean, thankfully for him, he gave me that leeway and a chance to prove myself, because I can tell you, I never thought that I would actually go into microbiology, or that it was kind of something that I had an interest in at that point. It took me about another 8-10 years before I figured that out.
Wow. Okay. Now, how did you figure that out? You didn't go to college, I'm guessing?
I did community. I went to JUCO when I was 19, 20 for business and stuff. But most of the time I was self-taught with everything.
Okay.
The way I got into that was I started learning how to brew beer.
Okay, like what, in your own garage or something?
No, most of my family didn't know this, but my grandpa, when my grandma would leave town, he had a secret room. Well, it wasn't really a secret room, but it was a room that nobody really went into. Yeah. Behind this old Hoosier kitchen cabinet. And when she was out of town, he would brew back there. And he did it with me a couple of times, and that's where the interest came from. And then I started seeing that the craft beer industry was on the rise. Okay. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to focus on that. And so then I went and started educating myself in specifically brewing technologies and things like that, and ended up getting my first job at Tallgrass Brewing Company in Manhattan. Okay. I didn't live there when I got the job. I had moved back to work for them, and then after that it was a decade of building and operating breweries using my construction background to help build them. You know, I was always really good at seeing how production needed to happen and scheduling production and doing all those things. And so I never thought I would ever get out of brewing, but I did by accident. I was building a brewery here in Kansas City, or I was assisting them in building it. I went to work back for another builder for a while, and when I went to quit that job to move over to the brewery full time, he offered me a substantial more in a salary, and so I decided to stay. His management style was not a style that I necessarily agreed with.
Gotcha.
And so I just kind of had enough, and so had one of the other gentlemen he was my foreman. I was the senior project manager, and so we decided to start Stag Homes, and the owner found out and fired me on the spot, and so I had to figure it out.
Yeah, you do. That's a quick way to put your back up against the wall. So what do you think made you gravitate towards doing your own thing, being an entrepreneur? So I mean, you struggled in school, you didn't do well, you had a teacher kind of help you out to get you to graduate the microbiology class, but like, why not just go get a job? You said you do welding. Yep. Did you do welding at that point in time? Did you know how to do that?
I did in between, kind of, because there was construction. Then I went in and I did welding for a while. So I initially went into work in building cattle trailers, and then I got into food grade TIG welding. Okay. I worked for some of the big meat packing plants, and they'd fly us around on their private jets and do stuff like that. But I was always around other entrepreneurs. Okay. And for me, it was more of stupidity and arrogance. Okay. Where the stupidity of I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah, I love that combination, by the way.
It was just really, when I saw, like, I'd see certain things, I'd be like, I think I can do that better. And that was the stupidity piece. I'm thinking, I could do it better than these guys that have been doing it for decades.
Yeah.
My uncle always did really well. He was a big influence on my life because I lived with them when I was going to JUCO, and he's worth a lot of money because he did business consulting, and so he imparted a lot of things on me when I was younger and defiant and didn't listen. Yeah. And then I hit about in my 30s and started putting the pieces together. Okay. And so for me, it was just I always wanted to do something different. It wasn't necessarily I wanted to work for myself and have all this freedom and things like that. It was just I wanted to make an impact and do something that other people weren't doing.
That's cool. Looking back at it, if you go back and talk to your younger self in school, would you tell them to do anything different? Would you tell them to stay defiant?
That's a tough one. I mean, for me, I would definitely tell myself to do things differently. Because back then, when you grow up in low-income neighborhoods, you're always kind of looked at, just from the outside, just from your association with neighborhoods. Yeah. You're looked at as being less than. You're looked at as not having the brains like everybody else does. And so that kind of feeds into what your mental state is. So I would tell my younger self that you're actually a lot smarter than you think.
Wow, where do you think that came from to do that?
When I got into business and helping other people build their businesses, I started seeing that I could just catch on to things quicker and that I was able to produce outcomes at a much faster rate than other people.
Okay.
Not everyone, but most.
Yeah.
And so then I started looking back and I'm like, well, why am I getting this and other people aren't?
Yes.
And then when I started taking IQ tests and stuff like that, I started figuring out that it was completely mental before.
Yes.
It was just that I told myself I wasn't smart enough.
Gotcha.
It was just through life experience.
How old do you think you were when this started to happen?
Probably about 35, 36. I'm 40.
Wow.
I'll be 42 next month.
Wow.
So it took a while.
Wow.
But it was also just being around other people, you know, and being lucky enough to be exposed to really high net worth individuals and people within the middle class, and then, you know, growing up low income, and just having lots of different exposures really helped, I think, round me out.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was due to my grandparents. You know, I was 8, 9 years old at the lake, sitting around a picnic table having conversations with the president of a bank.
Wow.
And then 20 minutes later, I'd be sitting down with one of the enlisted military guys, you know, down at the other side of the campground. And so it was just one of those things that just kind of naturally happened. I don't regret any of my life because it made me who I am and it prepared me for what I'm doing now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Was there like a defining moment, or was, like you said, was it just an accumulation of these moments where you're like, wait a minute, I'm producing more, I'm faster, I'm catching on to things quicker? Was it just a series of all of those? Was there one particular defining moment that like hit you?
No, it was, having my first daughter, that started me being a little more responsible and needing to provide stability and do things.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
24.
20. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
today that'd be considered very young.
Yes, it would be. Yeah, that was, you know, that's what you get when you're hanging out in college and you know, having a few drinks. Luckily, it was the girl I was dating, so it wasn't like it was random. But
yeah.
you know, for me, it was not a defining moment. It was just I had started actively making good decisions because I wanted more for my family than I wanted for myself.
Yes.
And so it was just lots of really tiny decisions compiled over time that eventually I turned around and looked back at my life and what had been accomplished, and I was like, holy cow, how did I accomplish this?
Yes.
And it was that moment, which was about 3.5 years ago, when I was like, okay, what was the groundwork that helped me get here, and how can I replicate that and help build other leaders to build more leaders, so then we can really grow and really help people do the right things in life.
Yeah. So how many kids do you have now?
I have 3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. What are their ages?
So I've got my daughter's 17, my son is 13, and my youngest is 8, and her name is Brewer.
I love it.
So working in the brewing industry, we kind of, we're joking around, driving around one day, because that was when we were living in Utah.
Yeah.
And we joked around saying some beer associated names for our daughter, and we just thought, when she comes out, we'll know. And we saw her and thought, that's it. And it's worked out, and I
hope she's grateful for that, because that's an awesome name.
I don't know if she's going to be grateful for it or not. It's very unique, and it definitely fits her, because the older 2 are the warm-up to her.
Okay.
She is a spitfire, if you want to put it nicely.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and I know I'm putting you on the spot with this question, right? But like kids, what do you feel like your kids have taught you that was like caught you off guard, unexpected?
Everything it taught me all my flaws.
I like that.
Because you start, when you see your actions impact another human that you're in charge of, you have to start reflecting and changing and, becoming more mature and being able to have emotional maturity and be able to have really good conversations and be able to break down complicated scenarios to help teach your kids, how to survive out here.
And it seems like it's getting, I wouldn't say harder to do, but it's getting weirder to do.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's kind of both. For me, it's definitely, we're seeing less kids move out on their own.
Yeah.
A lot of things like that, and so I'm kind of thinking we're going back to the old school way of doing things where we all stay together.
Yeah.
So I never thought I would have the life I have today, and it's honestly just getting started.
Yes.
But with our property, our plan is I've found these very specific geogrid style kind of houses that we can bring in and set, and they're only about $20,000, and they're fully contained with windows, water,
Oh, wow.
all of that. And so I'm thinking that for my daughter, since she turns 18 in October, if she wants to move out, we're just going to put one of those on the property,
Yeah,
and then
have
she
like
has
a
her own
commune.
place to live and doesn't have to go out there and struggle. We can help,
Yeah.
you know, because I've been teaching them about real estate. I've been teaching them how to, you know, use their money to make money and not just go blow it on something. You know, have a little control to use your money and go buy something that helps make you money, because then you keep doing that, it compounds over time, and now you're not having to work to do the things you want to do.
Yeah, so I actually ran a AI simulation on if you took the same amount of money that you would spend on sending your kid to college, and instead, over the same 4-year period of time, put that amount of money into a home for them. And they kind of fought each other depending on a number of different choices that you make.
Yeah.
Up until about 40 when the college won, unless your kid every 5 years pulled the equity out of their primary residence and invested in a rental, at which point there was no course of college that could compete.
Oh, absolutely.
Financially.
That's exactly what I teach my kids. You know, my older two are actually mine from a previous marriage.
Okay.
I call it my practice marriage.
Practice marriage. How long was your practice marriage?
Well, we were together in total for 9 years. We
Okay.
were married, I think, 6.
Okay.
But it was my choice. You know, life had just taken a different path, and her life took a different path than what I saw, so I had to kind of take a step away. But then I ended up getting custody, and now I have complete sole custody of my kids.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've helped 5 of my male friends get sole custody of their kids as well. The most recent one was actually my banker.
No
He was going
way.
through a divorce, and so I would kind of be in the background help coaching, because I really believe that children do much better when they have fathers involved.
It's
I grew up without my father. I had my grandpa, but that wasn't the same.
No, it's a statistical fact. Like, you cannot argue this. There's literally no difference between a man and a woman outcome-wise, between a man and a woman raising a kid and a man raising a kid.
Correct.
But you put a kid alone with a woman, it destroys them.
Well, it's just hard because, you know, women are
And yes, I'm
meant
saying
to be
that on camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, women are meant to be feminine and be compassionate and be
Yes.
caring, and and children need some of that more hard, you know,
They do.
here's how it's going to be kind of a thing. And
Discipline,
even though mothers
structure.
try really hard, you know, it's just
Yeah.
it just happens to be different sometimes.
It does.
And I know that because I grew up in a family full of women.
Yeah.
And they raised me to respect women and understand the struggles that women go through, but
Yeah.
I also saw the side of where men weren't involved in our lives, and I saw the impact that had. And so I always made sure that I was not going to be one of those. But then my kids, the older two, their maternal grandfather did very well for himself as an attorney, and when he passed away, he left them a small trust fund.
Nice.
And so I've been coaching my kids significantly about investing in real estate just for that reason. Like you explained, I've been talking to my daughter since she gets control of it, you know, in October, November sometime. I was like, let's go. We could buy you a house, or we could just buy a house. You can rent it out, and the people are paying down your mortgage for you, you know, and your house is increasing. We get your tax deductions that could come into that. And I said, and so I've just been coaching my kids for years on how to invest in real estate and businesses so they don't have to get stuck in the cycle that most people get stuck in. Because it's scary. It's scary doing it by yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Was there any lessons learned from your first divorce that you took forward into your second marriage?
Communication.
Okay.
Looking for red flags, one. You know, there were a lot of red flags that I didn't see when we were dating that, you know, I was just young. I was in early 20s and didn't have enough life experience. And through that process and dealing with a lot of the things that we were dealing with, you know, because she had ended up turning into a drug addict.
Oh.
Which that was never something that ever happened when we were together, but when it did, it got really bad.
Wow.
When I left, I swore women off for 10 years. And I met the wife I have now 30 days later. She was
the best
friends
laid
with
plans of mice and men.
Right? Yeah. Because she was really good friends with my brother and a bunch of my other friends that I had. And so when I met her, you know, we over communicated. We both had come from some very toxic relationships, and it was really about making sure that we communicated well and made sure that each other truly understood what the other was doing. And to this date, we've been together 11 years now, and we have never had a fight.
Wow. Wow.
And I've only been told no one time.
Wow.
Which is, you know, that's not a testament to me. That's how good she is.
Yeah. No, so I laugh because I got divorced December of 23, and I thought for sure I'd spend 5 to 6 years. And I meet this lady, and we're hanging out, and I'm in her pool, and I'm just telling her about how much women suck, and I want nothing to do with women, and I'll never get married again, and I'll never date, one woman ever again. And I just moved her out here from California, and
it does happen that way. Yeah,
it's like, and I think the more staunch you are and it not happening, it's like the more the universe is like, I got you. I got you, bitch.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always had a lot of people ask me, what's the biggest key to your success? And my number one has been her.
Oh, that's
and
incredible.
People say that, and I think that's just because it's supposed to be your response.
Yeah.
But it actually is my response,
their
because
spouse is going to watch the video. And
well, I mean, with her, she literally is my best friend. In the 11 years we've been together, we've probably only spent 14, 15 days away from each other.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we are together all the time. We just like being around each other, and we just have a good time. And it's nice when you can joke around and say things you probably wouldn't say to anybody else. But it's more so that
she can't
she
call you
really
and try and
is,
get you fired. She can't call you to get you fired from yourself.
That's true, yeah. But with her, I didn't understand how much a woman can impact your success, because we struggled a lot for a lot of years. She's just my peace. Like, when everything feels like it's falling apart, if I go home, and even if she's just in proximity to me, I'm okay.
Dude, that is incredible.
And she always backs me up, even when I have dumb ideas. She's like, well, just go for it. She's like, most of them work out.
Yeah, what's the worst case scenario is you're going to learn some shit.
Right? That's exactly what happens. I'm trying not to learn as many lessons now, because the
learning sucks.
The higher up
difficult.
the ladder we go, the more expensive these lessons tend to get.
They did. I was this guy today. He goes, I started off, and it's like, if I had a job go bad, he's like, I just tried to get out of it for $1,000. Then I was just trying to get out of it for 10 grand. Now I'm trying to get out of it for 100 grand. I'm like, yeah, it's all the same fucking shit. It's just the number of zeros on the end of the lesson are longer and longer and longer.
Yeah. I'm scared to keep going, because I don't know how big these numbers are gonna get.
No, they'll go as big as you want them to get is the problem. Did you have any issues like blending the family and the other kids and any of that kind of stuff?
That was a huge concern for me. But no, we didn't. Luckily, with me being able to get custody pretty quickly, my kids were only without me for about a year.
Oh, wow.
And because they were all really young, they all it was like nothing ever happened. I mean, the older two were there when our youngest was born, and they got to go through the pregnancy with us and do a lot of those things. And so it never really was an issue where, if I wouldn't have been as fortunate to have the situations that I did and get custody, it probably would have looked a lot different. Yeah. It would have been harder.
That is incredible. And I the things that have impacted me and helped me in my relationships with other business owners, it's not really the stuff about their particular business. It's the things about, like, the journey they've been on, the struggles they've gone through, the way it's affected them personally, how they've had to deal with being an entrepreneur and having kids and having marriages and just all that kind of stuff. And so I just appreciate you getting into the personal side of it. We're about to pull up where I'm going to introduce you to Elijah, who you actually already know from the I Am Foundation.
Yeah, I love Elijah.
And you were saying somebody connected to you is on his board?
Yeah, so my director of operations, my second in command, is on the board for the I Am Foundation.
And that is incredible.
No, that's what my mom always called us, as her little African children, because of our ears.
Okay.
And then we used to tell people she had the neck rings.
So a friend of mine owns a company called Luxury Society, and they make sunglasses.
Yes, we got those.
So these are actually 24 karat gold. The bigger the hair, the further to the back.
Yeah, so you can't
You're blocking people's views.
No, I love you. Thank you, Lord.
Here, hang on. I'm gonna try and compete with
There's nothing to be
somebody.
sad about. Move forward.
Okay.
You gotta get the pick out.
Right?
See the plates.
Well, that's the hair. So here we are at Children's Mercy,
Children's of Mercy Hospital.
Children's of Mercy or Children's Mercy?
Children's of Mercy.
It's Children's Mercy.
Merciful children.
Merciful children. Elijah, yeah, I run the Iron Foundations program with my team back here.
You, what do you teach them about today? How not to get cancer?
No, I can't teach. Well, can I teach that? Angie, can I teach? Well, I mean,
Not
healthy
legally,
living,
not
yeah,
legally.
really, yeah, not legally, yeah, right.
Not legally.
It's off the record.
This is day 11. Day 11 of our 1 month, 2 months summer leadership program. So today they're at Children's Mercy Hospital, where we're working with Angie over there. Hi. Yeah, shout her out there. Yeah.
We had a project, and the subject was how we can decrease suicide.
Decrease suicide by 20%.
So we had to basically come up with a presentation and like our own solution of what we would do to help decrease that suicide and everything like that. So we all presented and everything like that. That's what we did today.
So I got a question. Who group you think was better?
Mine. Like, what? No, I'm joking. I think everybody did really good. I seen all my friends' presentations.
All right, so I have a very funny suicide story.
Is it funny?
I'm living in Nashville, Tennessee. There's an adult class on mental health, and they brought in doctors from Vanderbilt. Okay, and I hate country music with a passion. The doctor asked this group of adults, where do you think more suicides occur? In urban environments or rural environments? And everybody immediately just blurbs out urban environments, but I raised my hand. And they called on me. Now I'm in here with the Shadazes, Diamond Rio, the Kenny Chesney, what's the couple, the power couple, I always forget their name. Anyways, all these major people, they're songwriters, all of them are there, right? And they call on me and I go, well, it's definitely rural environments. And they said, you're right, how'd you know? And I said, well, because if all I had to listen to is country music, I'd kill myself too. How I didn't get like murdered, I don't know. But to make this a good point here, to make this a good story, why do you think it's rural environments and not urban environments?
Because it's more isolated.
Exactly. So when you guys talk about what you can do to help decrease suicide, what do you think the number one thing you can do is?
No, not
That's if you're trying to increase it by 20%. Yeah, right? Community. Help build your community, right? So in the 50s, the average person was a member of 8 different organizations. Whether it was like bowling leagues or like book clubs or whatever, they were down to 2. People are more and more isolated, and we're more and more fragmented. And I think this is awesome start in creating a community.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I got to shout out Elliot again. All right, my guy Elliot. Yeah, and I got to shout out Skylor. Yeah. So, and I'm jumping the gun, but I'm going to say thank you for your support.
Yeah, you bet, man.
You know,
you bet.
Your support means the world to us, right?
Yeah.
And at the Iron Foundation, our mission is to lead, encourage, and motivate others to see themselves greater than their circumstances. Skylor actually has 2, he's helping us in 2 ways. He's also helping us with some construction projects for Ruskin, which you can tell us about.
Well, I mean, we've got a couple of construction projects we're going to be working on with them to help them with facilities and do other things.
Wait, did you just switch to a radio voice?
Did I? I mean, I can. No, I love what Elijah does. You know, what I do a lot of is I love doing outreach. I came from really low income areas. Like I said, I was born down in Westport at KU Med. I grew up with nothing. And so when I get the opportunity to help somebody like Elijah and all the kids back here, if I can put money towards it, put time towards it, whatever I got to do, that's what we like to do. And so there's a lot of programs that we do with Stag Homes and the other companies that I have, where we go out and we do a ton of outreach. I work with Blue Valley, I work with Shawnee Mission, we've done Bonner Springs, Baser, you know, we've got one of the administrators out in Knob Noster wants us to come out. We just do a lot of work with kids. So anybody that's doing that, I love doing it, I'm all about it, and especially with what Elijah's got going, helping kids, because me growing up in areas like you guys did, you know, I've been shot at, I've been stabbed, I've had all those things happen. And so I get it, and it's really hard to get away from the mentality that you aren't deserving or you can't get to that level because this is where you're from, this is where you come from. That's not the case. You have to change how you speak, you have to change how you act, and you have to change how you think about people. Mm-hmm. But once you do that, the sky's the limit.
Well, we thank you so much. We thank Elliot. And before we even end the video, I wanted to ask the team behind me, what's your I ams? Let's start with, yeah.
I am very grateful.
I am beautiful.
Let's go. Danny.
I am blessed.
I am intelligent.
I am amazing.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I am justified to live on.
Ooh.
I am happy.
I am great.
I am creative.
I am grateful.
I'm a go-getter.
I'm the greatest.
Ooh.
I'm happy.
I'm full of life.
I'm thankful.
I am driven. I am alive.
Ooh.
I am inspired.
Let's go.
I am loved and supported.
Let's go.
I am funny.
I am surrounded by amazing people. I am proud.
I am smart.
I am chalant. I am at peace with the love of God.
I am justified to live on, to thrive, and be myself.
So here at the Iron Foundation, we believe beyond in ourselves. And if you're watching this, please support every single time. Bring my man Elliot in here every time. All right. Stay tuned for more. Thank you, Elliot. Okay, real quick, you guys all
Hang on. The ultimate thanks goes to you for creating something worth supporting.
Thank you.
And happy
Thank you.
birthday, Elijah.
It's the it's the birthday hug.
It's a birthday. Okay.
Man, what a day so far, right?
Yeah, it's been a good one.
We got to meet up with Elijah at the Children's Mercy Hospital. That was pretty cool, about 40 of the kids that he works with. We just went and grabbed a bite to eat and some drinks at King G's. Now, you have a connection to that, right?
Yeah. When they were opening up, I invested in King G's, and Eric, the owner. I mean, that guy is a phenomenal business owner. Really knows how to do things. He just opened up another location in Shawnee at Johnson Drive in Neiman called Hank's. It's kind of like a little automotive bar grill type setup, and it's really, really nice up there too.
What made you want to invest with them?
It was mostly just I needed somewhere to put some money, and I was tired of working for my money. I wanted my money to go somewhere where it would make me at least a little something while I was sleeping.
That's the whole point of having extra money, right?
Yep. You hustle and you grind enough, you start getting tired of doing that, and you start understanding how to utilize money appropriately, and that's where the game really starts to change.
I want to get into something that we talked about when we were at Children's Mercy. You, and it's a little personal, you mentioned one of your daughters is like a $3 million baby.
Yeah, so it was completely unexpected. She was born premature. Yeah, I was working at this place out in Paola, even though I was living in Shawnee. But yeah, my wife at the time had just called me and said, hey, I'm not feeling good, going to the hospital. I told her I'll meet her down there, so I jetted over to the hospital off Shawnee Mission Parkway, and we were there about 45 minutes, and about 30 minutes later we had a kid because she had preeclampsia and was just, blood pressure was 200 both sides.
Yeah.
My daughter just had all these issues, and within 2 hours, my daughter was down at Children's Mercy, and I got fired from my job because I refused to leave the hospital.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, I don't blame them. It's not their fault at all. I get it. They got a business to run.
Yeah.
But for me, I was not going to leave that hospital. And so I stayed there every day, almost all day.
Wow.
As much as I could. And then, after that, it was so traumatizing to me, your first kid, and you go through all that stuff, and, all these
And you were 24 at the time?
I was 24, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
She had 3 or 4 brain surgeries by the time she was 3 months old. But looking at her now, you'd never know. So it was a lot, but then it taught, then I made the best and worst decision, which was to move out to Southwest Kansas.
Okay,
Because that was where her family was from.
Okay.
And so we moved out there for 3 or 4 years, and then I ended up being able to work my way into the brewing industry, and that's when we moved back this way.
Okay.
And then after that, I never looked back, and that was when I just started moving and doing, and because about every year and a half, we were building a brewery, moving again, doing different stuff.
So how do you think that experience with your daughter, did it help you in ways as an entrepreneur? Did it help your marriage?
Yes.
Did it hurt your marriage?
It didn't. It was kind of indifferent when it came to the marriage, but as far as me personally, it definitely made me a better man, because even though I'd grown up in really high risk, high conflict areas, you're used to seeing lots of horrible things happen and being a part of really high traumatic situations, but nobody prepares you for it when it's your own kid.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had to keep my stuff together. I had to keep all my shit together emotionally while everybody else was around. And then I used to go down to the parking garage and sit in the car and cry.
Oh my goodness.
But I never would really let anybody see that.
Yeah.
Because
Have you ever told your kids this? Does your daughter know?
Yeah, she knows. Yep.
Okay.
I try to be as open as I can when it's age appropriate.
Yeah.
Content.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
These aren't the stories you tell them to put them to bed when they're 6 months old, a year old.
Right.
And then Daddy went and rocked himself in the corner, sucking his thumb, bawling his eyes out, thinking about putting a gun in his mouth. But don't worry, I'm still here. No.
Yeah. The first time I really became vulnerable in front of someone who's your spouse, because as a man, you want to keep things together. You want to be seen as the rock. You want to make sure you're
a man,
providing,
right?
Protecting, and doing all those things.
Yeah.
Because that's what women deserve.
Yeah.
And when we were going through the custody battle to get custody of my older two, you know, I mean, every time I got off the phone, I would cry, and my wife was right there. And it was just hard because I knew how much danger they were in, and nobody would help me because I was the father.
Yep.
And so it was really tough. But it made me a better business owner because it taught me how to separate emotion and circumstances.
Yeah.
So instead of me losing it all the time, like I see business owners do frequently, it taught me to just keep it together and deal with it in my own time when it doesn't impact everybody else, and you just work through it in that manner.
Yeah, it taught you to like compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Like forestall the emotional aspect of things.
Yes.
Deal with it when it's appropriate, when you can.
Right, because your team needs you to be strong. They don't need to see you falling apart. They don't need to see when things are hard. It doesn't help anything. And so it really taught me how to handle things well in the right time.
Yeah. So you did some pretty cool stuff in the brewery, right? Didn't you?
Yeah.
You told me a little bit about the brewery here in town that was supposed to be like, was it Legacy Brewery or something?
Well, it's Limitless Brewing.
Limitless.
Yep. So it was when I was building and operating a brewery in Utah, and the owners and I had been communicating. He had a beer blog, and so I invited them up to Utah, and they actually came, wrote a little piece on our brewery up there, and then we had a little party at the house that night, and they went back home. 2 weeks later, they sent me a message, and they were like, "Hey, do you have any interest in moving back to Kansas City and building a brewery here?" And I, for lack of a better word, I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do."
Yeah. Hey, look, one of my favorite sayings, if it's not fuck yeah, it's fuck no.
Right. And so, we moved back here, and while we were building the brewery and getting it ready to go, they did most of it. They've been probably, out of all the breweries that I've built, they have done the best and been the most responsible business owners and the most compassionate and empathetic, really.
Yeah. And
so now they own their own $2.2 million facility that's just phenomenal on 95th and Dice Lane, which is kind of in between Lackman and Santa Fe.
Yeah.
And they do a great business, and it's fun. They do music all the time. And
so what was special about that one? What do you think you did, or what did they do? What did you guys do together?
Honestly, it was the one. I don't think it was anything I did. It was just the experience of being able to do it here in Kansas City, and then they have become my best friends. So,
oh wow.
We actually take vacations together every year. We're skipping out this year. We're finally taking the kids on a vacation.
Stupid kids.
Just the wife and I, but
getting in the way.
But it was just the partnership that happened, and just really connecting with someone on a level that we could communicate as business owners together.
Okay.
Once I had my business with Stag Homes, and then we just get together all the time now, and it's just one of those camaraderie things at this point.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get into Stag Homes finally. You knew from the guy you're working for, there's certain things about the way he did his business you didn't really like, you thought you could do differently. Mm-hmm. And you set out to incorporate that into Stag Homes. He finds out shit cans is obviously somebody is want to do, and you're going into business against them, and they're footing the bill for your startup.
It was terrifying. When I went home, and I knew I was getting fired that day. My wife was wasn't a mess, but she was upset, obviously.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't work. We made that decision. It's like, why would she go to work and we send our kids to somebody else to raise?
Yeah.
So we made the decision to struggle and her stay home. And so now she doesn't have a job. Technically, I don't have a job.
Yeah.
And so all I did was
welcome to the Thunderdome.
Right? And it was, that's when it's make or break it. And honestly, I didn't know which way it was going to go. I just knew that if I woke up every day and I did some shit and I did the stuff I hated to do first, I would probably get somewhere.
Oh, did you get that from Eat the Frog book?
No, I've not read that book.
Oh, yeah. It's wake up and do your least favorite thing first every day.
Well, that's what I tell my kids all the time.
Yeah.
And it's usually because I'm telling them to do something.
Yeah, right? It's like one of my favorite sayings. If you wake up every day and start off with a nice light jog, there's no conceivable way your day can get worse.
Right. I would agree with that. Absolutely. You know, I mean, that's what I tell the kids all the time. Is like, you know, if you're chasing happiness, you're never going to find it.
Yep.
Look for a purpose, and that's what'll drive you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that's what happened with me. And so then, you know, it took me 2 weeks to find my first job. And I got my first job, and it was me and another guy who was my foreman with that company came over with me, and he had a lot of skills too. And so we both ran the company together for about 2 years. And then he became unhappy because I was trying to grow the business and move out of the day-to-day. You know, I wanted to be there half the day, and the other half of the day I need to be out finding jobs and doing bids and things like that. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so we ended up separating, and so that was a trying time for me because then I had to try and figure it all out by myself, you know, and find labor and do those things that I wasn't familiar with, you know, of doing all the time.
Yeah.
And so I had some mistakes, but we got through, and I still had jobs. And
so what makes Stag Homes different from every other contractor?
We actually care about people.
Everybody says that.
Well, right. So what we do is, so like we have a project management software where they have a login.
Okay.
Where they can be in
does.
Barcelona, and they can log in every day and see exactly what has happened on the job site that day.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I guess the only way I can put it is we actually listen to them.
Okay.
Which it was my third or fourth job that we ever did, and she's still a client of mine to this day. There was an argument between her and her husband about what this fireplace was going to look like because we were going to redo the fireplace a bit, and he said a bunch of stuff, she said some stuff. He gave in, so I listened to her, and it was a bunch of, you know, like really nice natural stones on the fireplace. We were doing custom limestone hearth caps and limestone mantle.
Yeah.
And we got up to the height of where we're putting the mantle in, and she comes around the corner, she's looking, she's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, we're putting the mantle on." She's like, "Oh." I was like, "What, do you not like it? Like, this is, like, I thought this is what you wanted." And she goes, "I didn't realize you were listening." And so it caught me so off guard that
is an incredible
I didn't understand what was
Yeah.
happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you know, after the next day, she goes, "I'm sorry." She goes, "I didn't mean to react like that." She goes, "But you're the first contractor that's ever listened to me."
Wow.
And she goes, they love the fireplace.
Wow.
But it was just strange for her to have somebody actually listen. And what I tell everyone in my company is, whenever we make decisions, if it is not good for our client and it is not good for our employees, then that is not a decision we will ever make. A lot of that comes from just watching people get screwed over by contractors and get robbed by them, because that happens too. You know, there's a fair amount of good ones out there, but in my opinion, I think there's worse ones.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you horror story after horror story that I've dealt with. I think one time I paid and got a quality product.
That's my whole goal. Like I can give you an example right now is, you know, sometimes we do leverage labor outside of our company, or a frequent amount, because we need electricians and plumbers and stuff like that, because we have to meet codes and all those things. But I hired a guy that he talked the talk and said all the things that I normally say of how I treat clients and do things like that. Well, I gave him a fireplace job, and this lady also wanted a limestone mantle. Why it happened to be this, I don't know. It's just what it was. I mean, it was $700 for that one piece. He measured wrong, and so when it got installed, it wasn't right. I told him, I was like, "This is on you. You need to pay for it. You need to fix it, this and this and this." And he absolutely refused and started berating my designer during or via text. And so I just said, "Forget it." And so I took the hit on that, and I paid the extra $700 plus some. When I say we're about people, that's what I mean, is we will do what it takes to make it right.
That's awesome.
And because that's just what I believe in, and that's the only way I can sleep.
So what is your end goal?
Just to survive.
Okay.
You know, I never had this goal of, I want to be a $50 million company or a $100 million company, or, you know, I never attached those numbers to it. It was always a feel for me.
Okay.
Like when I tell my director of operations, who's my second in command, and him and I are building this thing together, I just told him, I said, the second clients aren't taken care of and the second employees aren't taken care of, that's where I stop. And so it's never a dollar amount. Now, I have figured out how to start implementing this type of business model into other companies.
Okay.
And so that's where we're now entertaining buying a cabinet company in Lenexa. And then we're in process of launching a pool construction company. We've already got some pool jobs on the books. And so I am looking at expanding and growing. And I guess the ultimate goal at this point is just to have absolutely everything in-house so I can control every aspect of it to make sure that the full client experience is what it should be. When you're dealing with typically it's their largest asset.
So then do you expect to sell that at some point? Do you expect to turn it over to one of your kids, your COO? Like what's your exit strategy?
I didn't really have one. I think for me, it's mostly to get it to run on its own.
Okay.
For the most part.
Become like a lifestyle business?
Yeah, where maybe, not maybe, where I will just, I have my check-ins and I do stuff like that, but I think, it's been a recent goal, it's been a goal for me for a long time, but a recent goal I've expressed to my wife and starting to get her on board is I want to buy a catamaran and just sail the seas and work from the boat. That's what I want to do. So I just need to get the businesses to a place where that's what we can do.
Are you going to get a parrot?
No, I will not have a parrot. I've thought about a peg leg though.
Yeah, peg leg would be cool. You have the loops.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's more for aerodynamics.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, you mountain bike, right?
I haven't done it a whole lot since I got the business.
Those flap in the wind as you're going fast?
They can, yeah. It's usually when I'm driving the boat.
Oh, okay.
They'll beat around a little bit.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, that was one of those things too for me that, I always lived a little bit on the edge when I was younger, and so I expected by this point I would be completely covered in tattoos head to toe.
Yeah, okay.
But I ended up.
And you got a few.
I do have a few. My torso's done, one of my arms and stuff. But
okay.
I always knew that making those choices, I had to be smarter and I had to be better than everybody else in whatever industry I was doing.
Yeah.
Because I thought that it was going to be a hindrance to me getting ahead of my career.
Yeah, and I think back in the day it was. I think today, like now that you have like people like Justin Bieber covered in tattoos,
right, yeah.
Nobody associates them with the tough guy criminal mentality anymore, Now they're like kind of associated with the man bun latte making
I call them
curly cube mustache I call them bitch biscuits. Right? They get a little curly mustache and then they got sleeves, right?
Yep.
And you're like, yeah, you're harmless.
Yeah, well, that was the thing is, I thought when I started this company that was going to be the biggest problem I would have because I was gearing everything towards high-end, high net worth individuals, and that was the work that I was really good at.
Yeah.
And it turned out to never be an issue, and it's actually turned out to make me more memorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no matter where I go, people know who I am, and if somebody's even said something about me, they can see me like, that's probably the guy. And so it's really worked out in my favor at this point, and so it's been good.
Let's talk a little bit about your team that you have, right? You have a CPA?
Yeah, so I have a CPA.
Do you have a CFO or a fractional CFO?
I do not, no.
Okay.
I have my assistant, so I have a virtual assistant that's in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
But she went to Notre Dame for accounting.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And so, I for $240 a week, I get a really well-trained accountant. She handles the basics, and then I have my tax accountant that handles the major stuff.
Yeah.
Because we all have to have those checks and balances on each other.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 interior designers that also double as on the sales side.
Okay.
And we can do architectural drawings in-house. So if you want a custom home, which we're working on 2 different ones right now.
Okay.
We can build your home from scratch any way you want it.
Oh, wow.
And then we're getting into doing a lot of more what we're calling attainable housing.
Okay.
Which is the lower price point, anywhere from $275 to $400.
Oh, wow. I didn't know anybody can make money selling homes at that price point.
You can't. My margins are extremely low, and again, so I guess that's where I say it for people, is that's a good example. I could go out and I can build $600,000 to $2 million homes all day long and make $100,000, $200,000 easy on each house.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing to go this route because I know it's what the community needs. And it's what younger people need to be able to access housing and start building their own wealth.
Yes.
And so that's where that side is coming from, where on those houses, I'm making $10,000, $20,000. Like, it's not a whole lot. but I'm going to build 200, 300, 400 of them at least.
A week?
I wish. I wish I could do it that fast. No, but the ultimate goal is to be building around 100 to 150 homes of that size per year.
Okay, all right.
We're primarily focusing in KCK to try and bring that community back up, because everything that seems to happen down there, because I have gotten involved in politics on the backside of it, of needing to be around those people to, get things done.
Yeah.
That most of them don't give a shit about anybody.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts. And especially in a community like that that's been underserved for
Yes.
so long.
Yeah.
And they are making it extremely difficult for us to build down there.
Yeah.
Not intentionally, it's just part of how the system's built.
Yeah.
And so that's another one of those sides where when I say about people, that's what I mean.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you seem to have done something that I've never considered. You seem like you've done a really good job of balancing being a business owner, capitalism, and a sense of community and philanthropy and caring about people. And I just think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been my favorite adventure so far. And I just keep trying to think of more ways to help more people.
Well, so what do you think if there's another person out there getting into construction as a kid, if there's another kid that had a hard time focusing and, doing well in school, and what advice would you, out of everything you've learned and all these experiences you've had, from your daughter to your marriages to the breweries to the construction, is there anything like one singular thing that sticks out in your mind that if somebody had told you when you were 19 it would have changed your life, or 25 changed your life? Or
don't pay attention to all the crap you see on social media. Yes, there's those people that make it overnight, but your average millionaire's like, I think 47. Your average billionaire's 57, 67, something like that.
Yeah.
Money doesn't come fast and it doesn't come easy. If it does, you're going to lose it fast.
Yeah.
Because what attracts money is the person you have to become, not the work you're doing.
Correct.
And it's nothing but consistency. Every single day doing something.
You
Get up
had
and
mentioned
do something.
making lots of little decisions repeatedly.
Yeah, I always thought success looked like on a chart would just be this line that was just straight up. And it's not. It's squiggles and loops and turns and drops down to the bottom and back up, and it is not an easy road. It is hard, but for me it's worth it. Not because there's a lot of money, because I haven't made it that far yet, but it's enjoyable, and I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're doing something a little different, and that's what means something to me.
Yeah. Well, man, that is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Thank you for sharing your time, your money with Elijah and the I Am Foundation. I hope that people watching this have been able to be inspired and learn from you. And from Backseat Ballers and myself, I just really want to thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Elliot. I really appreciate the time.